Hey guys, it's Jackie and welcome back to my channel. This is what I eat in a week. Today, I'm going to attempt to cook this. This is hapjungwa and I've honestly never cooked this before. I've eaten this a bunch of times, but I quickly searched up a Chinese recipe for this, so I'm gonna follow that. First thing we have to do is actually peel it. Now that we have successfully peeled the skin of these gua, I'm going to cut it in half. This should be the seed and I'm just gonna carve it out. Now I'm just gonna cut it into slices. We're going to let this sit for a few minutes before straining it, just to get out all of the starch. Meanwhile, I'm going to prep with some onions. I'm just gonna cut them into thin slices. I'm going to stir fry these together. I currently have the water on boiling right now because I feel like the melon itself is not exactly ripe yet. So I will be blanching it. It's been 5 minutes now and they're nice and tender. Now we're going to strain it. So this is what we're working with, and as you can tell, they are translucent. So that means they are nice and tender now. Currently have it on a high heat and I'm going to drizzle in some oil. Next, I'm going to add some minced garlic that I froze in bulk. I'm going to do about 1 bar. I'm gonna quickly add in the onions. I'm gonna slowly cook the aromatics a little bit before I add in our melon. For seasoning, I'm going to go in with this chili oil. Now that they're all nicely coated, I'm gonna go in with my second sauce, and this is somewhat leftover hot pot sauce. Really flavorful. Also has a sesame oil. So this is how it's looking after mixing in all of the sauces. For our second dish, I brought out this grilling pan from IKEA because tonight we're having Korean short ribs. This is honestly one of my favorite meals and it's super easy to do. I pretty much just dump marinade into a bag and I marinate it overnight. Instead of oil, I'm going to be using some beef tallow that I made myself. I'm going to add in a little bit more sauce for color. Dinner is served. I do like my meat a little bit charred because I like that smokiness, but honestly, you don't have to fry it as long as I do. For today's stir fry, I'm going to be using these mushrooms. They are a little bit old because I kind of left them in the fridge, but we will be slicing this up for our little stir fry today. I went ahead and filled a little basin of water because we do need to wipe off some of the dirt from these mushrooms. So I'm just gonna pluck the stem and plop them right in, giving them a little scrub. Now that all the mushrooms are clean, we are going to strain this. Here we have it. Now we're going to start slicing. Grabbing my favorite knife. We are going for some medium thick slices because mushrooms do reduce in the heat, so I don't want them to completely disappear when I stir fry them. This looks like a lot of mushrooms, but I promise you it'll cook down to maybe even less than half the size. We're gonna put this away for now. Next up is a family favorite, spam and eggs. So I'll be cracking open a new can. A lot of people actually find spam ham gross, but I've literally grown up eating this, so it's a family favorite at this point. For today's ham and egg, I'm going to be frying eggs with spam in it. I'm gonna put this into a bowl as I'll be whisking eggs into this, so it will be one less dish to wash. Starting off with this grill again, I just really like how charred the food gets. We're just gonna wait for the oil to heat up in the pan before we drop in our garlic. I'm going to drop in 2 cubes for extra flavor. Now we're going to drop in our mushrooms. This looks like a lot, but it's gonna cook down in size. When sauteing on mushrooms, you don't really want to use too much oil because it does create liquids, so it's gonna make it too mushy rather than charred. So this should be just enough. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt. I don't want it too salty because of our protein. Give this a good mix. Now the star of the show is this chicken teriyaki that I pre-prepped. I'm gonna pour all of that in. We're gonna mix it. Because the chicken has been sitting in the marinade for so long, it is a little bit on the saltier side, which is why I don't want to over-season the mushrooms. I'm going to turn on the back burner and just leave this on there to heat up while I work on our second dish. Now that the pan is all nice and hot, I'm going to use a little bit of oil, give that a quick swirl. Then we're going to add in our ham. I mainly just want to saute this until they all turn a little golden brown. Then I'm going to whisk my eggs in the giant bowl. About 2 eggs should be good. I'm going to crack in my 3rd egg. Now we're going to pour this in. So now it's looking like one even pancake. I'm going to add in some black pepper because my brother really loves black pepper, as you can tell. Honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be like a scrambled situation. I like my eggs a little watery, but my brother doesn't. So I'm gonna cook these for like about an extra 20 seconds or so, and then we're gonna turn the heat off. Our chicken mushroom is looking so good right now. Look at the charness. This is why I love using this grill. It just gives you the right amount of color. It looks so good. So for that back burner, I'm just gonna turn it off because my brother's almost home. And then this should be done now too. So I'm gonna turn this off as well and then just let the residual heat further cook the eggs. So this is what we're working with today. I have a scoop of rice with chicken teriyaki and mushroom and then spam and egg. I am so hungry. Wednesday, I decided to go a little bit more Western. I'm making pasta with roasted wedges. First, I cut my potatoes in half and then I start slicing them into wedges. Like so, and then I put them in a pot of boiling water that was seasoned with some salt. I'm going to boil these until they are fork tender. I strained it and I put it into a container to season them with the seasoning on screen along with a little bit of olive oil. After giving it a quick toss, I'm going to lay it out onto a baking tray that is lined with aluminum foil. I'm going to put this in the oven while I work on the pasta. So going into a pot of boiling water, I'm using this rotini from Walmart. On the other side of the stove, I'm going to sear off my chicken. This is chicken that I have previously marinated, so I'm just going to drop that into a hot pan, making sure there is a golden crust before flipping. Here comes my sous chef, aka my brother. After removing the chicken chicken from the pan, I'm going to make my sauce in the same pan. Starting off with some garlic, and then I'm going to drop in my chicken stock. This one is just from Costco. This really helps to glaze the pan, as well as dropping in a cube of heavy cream that I have previously frozen. Then I'm going to go in with the seasons on screen. I'm adding the pasta back into the pan where all the sauce is while my sous chef is cutting up the chicken, giving this a quick stir. And then we're gonna add the chicken back into the pot. Also, this is why he stays as a sous chef, because what the hell happened to that chicken? And lunch is served. Hey guys, for today's lunch, it's a little bit of a cleanup service with all of these leftovers. I have some leftover melon and cauliflower from the other day, as well as the chicken teriyaki and mushroom, along with some rice. For today's lunch, it's going to be super simple. I'm just going to stir fry all of this in one big pan. The rice is a little bit on the drier side, so I'm going to add a little bit of water to help soften it up. And just like that, lunch is served. I know it doesn't look appetizing, but I promise you all the flavors are really nicely meshed together. Usually in the mornings, I'll have my typical overnight oats, and this is how I make it. First, go in with a 1/3 cup of rolled oats. This one is from Quaker Oats. And then I follow that with a 1/3 cup of almond milk. You can use any milk you want. Next goes in my toppings, and it's pretty much the fruits of choice. I have previously frozen some fresh blueberries as well as strawberries and mangoes. Then I like to top it off with a little bit of sweetener, and I just use honey. Put that in the fridge and it'll be all ready in the morning. It's finally Friday, and today we're having a little bit of a cheat day. We ordered sushi, but we also wanted variety, so we decided to make some scallion pancakes. These ones are frozen from the Chinese grocery store, and it's literally one of our childhood favorites.
Sushi also homemade.
This is eel avocado with spicy tuna. We also got a spicy yellowtail roll. This one in the middle is actually peppered tuna, and it's so good. Followed by Alaskan roll, which is not my favorite because I'm not a huge fan of salmon. Today I'll be making a pickled cucumber banchan. First, I'm going to slice my cucumbers, and then I put them into a giant bowl and salted them to help draw out that extra moisture. We're going to leave her alone for about 30 minutes while I prep the sauce. First thing we need is garlic, followed by some gochujang. And then some sugar, soy sauce, rice vinegar, and sesame oil. Give that all a really good mix to get it all incorporated. Then we're going to drop in our cucumbers that have been washed and strained. Shake it up in the container and put it in the fridge. Next, I am making Korean fried wings with all of the seasonings on screen. Give that a really good mix before I mix in my all-purpose flour. Now, the trick to getting really crispy wings is to not overdo the batter. So here, I'm putting it through a fine mesh strainer, and I'm going to dust it all over the wings. Flip it over and dust it again. I find that it gets the crispiest when you leave it on overnight, but you could also cook it when it's completely dry. I didn't film this, but I put it in the air fryer at 350 degrees for 20 minutes and flipping halfway. Next, I'll be making the honey soy garlic sauce that goes with the wings. Starting off with honey, then the soy sauce. Give that all a really quick mix before we add in our garlic. After the wings are done, don't immediately pour over the sauce because it will make it soggy again. So I recommend letting the chicken chill for just about 2 minutes or so and then coat it in the sauce. This is how they came out. That is it for today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one.